Alright, today on Bloomberg Quint, I'm here in Delhi to bust two myths. The first myth being that the world's fastest man isn't Usain Bolt technically. And also, the world's fastest car perhaps isn't a Bugatti or a Ferrari or a Maserati. Well, the man who is actually building the world's fastest car is here with me, Mr. Andy Green. Mr. Green, thank you so much for joining us on Bloomberg Quint.
Great pleasure, thank you.
Alright, now when I say the world's fastest man, I'm not trying to be funny because that is the title that you have earned. You got to tell us a little bit about why they call you the world's fastest man.
I was lucky enough in 1997 to be part of Richard Noble's thrust supersonic car team, which did exactly what it said on the tin. The first and still only supersonic world land speed record. So we ran a car to a two-way average of 1,228 kilometres an hour. 19 years later, that record still stands, but not for much longer.
So that's what I'm going to come to next. So that's the record that you plan to break, your own personal record, in 2017, and this is going to be Project Bloodhound. So Project Bloodhound, tell us what that rocket-propelled jet car is all about, and also what it feels like, perhaps to be behind the wheels of cars like this, and this is something that you're no stranger to.
Sure. Well, the concept for Bloodhound came when we were initially talking, because there's an American team and there's an Australian team, both trying to break the record right now. We thought, well, great, it's new competition. Should we build another car? Is there the appetite for it? Is there government support? Is there industry support? One thing became very clear very quickly. The big problem that everybody has is not just new technology, but getting the new engineers, scientists, technologists, mathematicians to actually inspire the young people of today to be the scientists and engineers of tomorrow. And we spoke to the UK government and they said, well, here's an idea. Why can we not take this technology and turn it into something that will inspire the youth of tomorrow with an amazing, mind-blowing bit of technology? So we're building a car that is part Formula One, part supersonic jet fighter, part next generation space rocket. A car that will do 1,600 kilometres an hour, the limit of modern technology. We're pushing back the boundaries of physics, and we're telling the story to a global audience as we go, to inspire that young audience. The 10-year-old girl that doesn't yet know she's excited about science and technology, give her a chance to see something in this amazing car and to watch it live. For the first time in history, we're going to take a straight line racing car and stream live video and live data at supersonic speeds. That's never been done before either. To reach out to a global audience of tens of millions, to let them see just how extraordinary this technology is. That's what Project Bloodhound is all about.
And also, Mr. Green, Project Bloodhound is going to actually take place, the final action is going to take place sometime next year, and it's going to be in a desert in South Africa.
Well, we actually have a 2-year program from now. So next year, 2017, we will go to South Africa and we're going to target 1,300 kilometres an hour. A new world land speed record, faster than the speed of sound. That in itself will be impressive. But that's the data, that's the research program we need to run next year to refine and develop the car, to make sure it's stable, to make sure we've got the right power, to make sure the wheel grip is right on the surface, to make sure we're slowing down just as well as we're speeding up, because that bit's always compulsory, so that we can develop the car from there to get to 1,600 kilometres an hour in 2 years' time. So this is a 2-year global adventure starting right now.
Interesting, Mr. Green. So now while you are in India and you are talking about this extensively, one thing that does come about, and you're going to Bangalore soon.
Yes.
One thing that does come about, and a question that springs to mind as well, is funding. For a project of this magnitude, to do something so crazy, you'd need a lot of funding. Where's the money coming from?
Well, we are tremendously lucky. We are now in the final stages. We're assembling the car ready to run. We have most of the funding actually now in place, just putting the last little bits together. We've had some fantastic support from the general public. To give you an example, 35,000 people so far have paid to put their names on the tail fin. And if you want your names, or better still, your kids' names, to do 1,600 kilometres an hour, there is still a chance, but you better be quick because the tail fin is nearly full now. A lot of it, of course, is corporate funding as well, but we've got some global A-list companies, Rolex, Rolls-Royce, Castrol, Geely, as not only our automotive partner, but also an education partner. China-based, so they have audience to over 1 billion people, and we're also working with Indian companies to deliver this technology. So, for instance, Jaguar is at the heart of Bloodhound, providing the pump motor, 550 horsepower V8 engine, just to power the rocket pump.
135,000 bhp is what I heard.
135,000 thrust horsepower is the equivalent power of the total car. The chassis, the rear end suspension, precision manufacture components using Jivel Software, an Indian company, which bolts to the lower steel chassis, which is made with Tata steel. And my favourite, which is the steering wheel, 3D printed in titanium by Renishaw, who do their research and development here in India, in Pune. There is core Indian DNA all the way through Bloodhound, so when we see the car run next year, people in India should be just as excited as we are.
You're going to have, I guess, more than 1 billion people cheering you on right from here in India. But also, Mr. Green, one thing that also comes to mind is, I mean, you're no stranger to this. As a wing commander in the Royal Air Force, speeds and high speeds are something that you're accustomed to. But what's it like sitting behind that wheel, just as a car junkie? I mean, you talk about acceleration. This is in 3 or 4 seconds. What is it like? How safe is it?
Well, first of all, safety. We are working with the world's very best. This is a car that's built more like a space rocket and much less like a racing car. The standard, the quality of build, the research and development. We've been doing this for 8 years already, just to find the technical solutions, so we can now confidently say we know how this will work. We are still going to step-by-step test next year, and all over the world. If you have a smart device of any kind, a laptop, a computer, a smartphone, you can watch live video from the car, you can stream live data, you can look at the engineering data even before we do. We'll still be busy in the desert running it. That's never happened before. We're engaging the world's largest engineering audience. And with that level of transparency, if we've made a mistake somewhere, someone out there, the millions, tens of millions of people, someone out there will spot it for us. So having a lot of people on your side, checking your homework, is really useful. But it's, for me personally, well, for all of us, it's going to be tremendously exciting to watch a car that from the standing start will be at the other end of a 20-kilometre track 2 minutes after setting off. Slowing down, I mean, it speeds up at about 2G, that's 60 kilometres an hour per second.
That's right.
It slows down at 3G. Now, if you picture this in a normal road car, doing 100 kilometres an hour, maybe not here in Delhi, outside of Delhi.
On the circuit.
100 kilometres, yes, 100 kilometres an hour. Don't try it, but imagine coming to a complete stop in 1 second from 100 kilometres an hour. That is 3G. That's quite a violent experience.
Right.
So physically, it's going to be quite dramatic for me in the cockpit, in addition to all of the noise, monitoring the car, steering like the car is on ice because the wheels will be skating across the surface at supersonic speeds.
Right.
All of that, none of us know exactly how that's going to be and exactly how the car will handle.
Right.
But the exciting part about Bloodhound is you get to find out at the same time as we do, because we're streaming the video while we're actually doing that.
That's interesting, that's the beauty of it, I'd imagine. But also, Mr. Green, what's it like preparing for something like this? Because clearly this is a prototype and this is something that you're building on in the next couple of years. How do you actually prepare for something like this? Because those speeds have never been reached before. I know you've done it in 97 to some extent, but how do you prepare for this on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, also considering your responsibilities at work as well?
Well, I'm a mathematician by training, so I understand the science and technology. I'm working very closely with the engineering and scientific team to help develop the car. As a fighter pilot, I understand both the dynamics of supersonic vehicles and actually the experience of what that's like.
Right.
And of course, having been part of the team previously to set still the only supersonic record in history, I know what that feels like. So we've got some great opportunities. For me, it's the perfect job ever as a scientist, as a fighter pilot, as a record breaker, but also working with the world's best engineers and the world's best engineering firms, and globally with the best partnerships, including that core input from countries like India, makes this the world's safest car. So it's not just about preparing me personally. I'm lucky to have that background. It's about preparing the team and preparing the car. And we are now in the right place to do this. That's why the next 2 years are going to be so exciting.
Mr. Green, all I can say is thank you so much for joining us. And of course, the world's fastest man, may the force be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.